What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Let's not waste too much time and let's get into what happened in the most recent episode of 90 Day Fiance Season 12.
I vow to try to not get other lovers.
Try. So it's not definite.
You know, it's one thing to make a joke, but then to make that type of joke, even though it's not actually a joke, because in reality, that's what she needs to do, it's also very wild to do that in front of his parents as well. But at the same time, though, should his parents be privy to the type of woman that their son is marrying? Abso-freaking-lutely. So for me personally, at first I was like, whoa, you're saying this in front of his mum and dad? But then I was like, you know what? I'm actually happy that you're saying it in front of the mum and dad. Why? Because maybe they'll talk some sense into their stupid son. But does that happen?
It escapes me as to why Catie wanted to share that with my parents.
What's another vow topic?
It escapes him. It escapes him why she wanted to share that with his parents. Why does it escape you? There's nothing that she does that's actually ever not a surprise. Anything that she does that we can consider to be somewhat scandalous, somewhat disrespectful, somewhat just Catie. Why should you be surprised? But let's continue, folks.
You'd like me to talk about that's important to you.
Trust, I think, is a good one.
Trust? Don't play with me, folks. Don't play with me. How can he be talking about trust? All Catie has done time after time after time is show a simple thing, that she does not care about your trust. Doesn't give a damn about your feelings, what you think, doesn't even ever consider it. All she ever thinks about and considers is what she's drinking and putting into her system, that's then going to put her in a position to do what, folks? To then put her in a position where she's going to be more than happy to go and kiss this guy and that guy and that guy. And sometimes even more than just that. And he wants to ask about trust. Honestly, I don't know if Josh is going to go down as one of the biggest morons of like 90 Day history, purely because he's allowed himself to continue staying in a marriage, in a relationship with Catie. I've got a question for you folks. Who is moving mad more, Josh or Catie? That's what I would like to know from you lovely folks. Because boy, let me know. But now we're going to move on to the next one. Let's dive in.
That door isn't completely closed off for me about having kids yet. As long as you don't rush me, we can travel, we can do things, and then we can, come back in 2 years and...
I'm sorry, but isn't that generally a fundamental type of situation when it comes to people making a choice to having kids? You're always going to have a conversation about when to have kids, and you also have a conversation about things that you want to do before you have kids, as well as also a conversation about things you're going to do once you have kids as well. So really and truly, for Mallorie to now be sitting here and saying, I am open to having kids, it's just I just don't want what I've got going on right now to be a problem. But listen, maybe I'm speaking a bit too soon. Let's continue.
And talk about it again. Babies, I love kids, but it's a me issue. I know as of right now, I don't want to have a child.
It is a Mallorie issue. As of right now, she knows she does not want to have kids. Because of her own issues. You know, when you're somebody that has a me issue, the thing is though, the question is always, how long is it going to take that person to move past those me issues? That's what it comes down to in the end of it. So, Mallorie, how long do you think it would take you? She's talking about how maybe 2 years down the line we can revisit the conversation. But listen, if I want to be with someone that wants to have kids, I'm not going to be getting married to somebody that's going to tell me in 2 years' time whether or not they're going to want to have kids or not. There's a fine line when it comes to, yes, I 1000% wants to have kids, but I don't want to have kids for at least the next 2 to 3 years. Compared to, it's not that I don't want kids, I just know it's a me issue. So maybe in 2 years' time I'm going to change my mind. You see how one gives you massive clarity and one gives you absolutely nothing? But let's continue.
Anytime soon.
And then I don't put signature.
Like the prenup.
And this man wasted no time bringing up that signature again.
Yeah. You don't
No signature. If you give me my time and my space when it comes to having kids.
I am so confused. So Mallorie is here to tell us that she will not put him in a position to sign the prenup as long as he gives her time regarding when she'll be ready to have kids. I'm sorry, folks, but let me just ask you a quick question real quick. Having a child, signing a prenup are not the same conversation, or am I moving mad? Because having a child is obviously a lifetime commitment, given that you want to be an active, present parent. A prenup is obviously something that happens that if you end up not working out, you're just protecting yourself from that person taking every single thing that you've ever worked for. But then at the same time, even sometimes, even when you have a kid and things don't work out in your relationship with your child, sometimes when it comes to divorces, custody can also become a conversation as well. I'm just trying to understand where her thought process is. I'm trying to understand why she's saying that I will happily not do a prenup as long as you give me time to think about. So what happens in 2 years' time? So this is where it gets very contradictory. What happens in 2 years' time? She says to herself, you know what? We're married. There's no prenup, but I still don't want kids. And then he says, okay, well, it's been 2 years. I'm now going to divorce you. And then I'm going to take whatever the hell I can take from you that the lawyers allow me to take. So really and truly, what she's really doing is signing herself up to pretty much make sure that she has a child with this man. Otherwise, if she doesn't, he's going to run anyway. And therefore, this prenup thing is going to become a whole skedaddle. But then there's also the point where 2 years from now, she may turn around and say, yes, I want to have a child with you. And he may say, but I don't want to have a child with you anymore. I still want a divorce. Give me everything that you own. Or there could be a case where a year from now, he may even be like, you know what, this relationship isn't working. Let me just bounce now. More of the story is a prenup is not the same as a child. So if I was Mallorie, do you know what I would do? I would stick to the plan, and the plan would be ask him to sign the goddamn prenup. And if he doesn't want to sign the prenup, then don't worry about it. We're going to call it quits, because at the end of the day, their relationship has no guarantee when it comes to a divorce, and the relationship has no guarantee when it comes to a child. But the prenup could at least give her a form of a guarantee that if things don't work out, or if she decides to have a kid, or whatever happens, at least she's going to be protected regardless. And also right now, for me personally, I still do find it quite suspect when it comes to this man and this whole prenup situation, and just other things as well. And I'm hearing this thing as well. Who was it? Somebody was telling me as well that apparently when this man is on his TikTok live, all he's ever doing is apparently just asking for money or flirting or something like that. I don't know how TikTok really works, to be honest, you guys, you know what I'm saying? But it really paints more and more of a picture of this of the type of person that he is. Yeah. Either way, folks, let me know. Is Mallorie's way of thinking moving mad by saying no prenup is okay as long as I can have time to think about the child? Or is she reality ready by saying that? Huh? Give me your thoughts. Now we're going to move on to the next one, folks. And this one right here.
I've made a big effort to get past it, and for you to say things like, oh, if you mess up, that's gonna be your problem. That doesn't make me feel like, oh, I trust you. It makes me feel like you better watch your step.
I have to agree, though. When somebody says that, it definitely puts your back up against the wall. Definitely, it can put up anyone's back up against the wall. But let's continue.
You are embarrassing me. You are embarrassing me. You're in a public place. You lower your voice.
I was talking about.
Now, the reason why I wanted to include that there is because I ain't gonna lie to you folks, I ain't gonna be hypocrites. I know some people are already dragging Marissa for, standing on business saying, listen, you need to stop doing what you're doing because we're in public places. I ain't gonna be hypocrite because I'll be exactly the same. If I'm having a conversation with somebody in public and they decide to start to get a little bit hostile or a little bit, everybody, I'm actually walking away. I'm bouncing, to be honest with you, because I don't like public stupidity like that, in my opinion. Do you see what I'm saying? But let's just go back a second again to what was said at the very, very, very beginning here. And in fact, let me replay it to make sure I get it right. Yeah.
I've made a big effort to like get past it, and for you to say things like, oh, if you mess up, like that's gonna be your problem. Like that doesn't make me feel like, oh.
Now, let's just obviously make sure that people understand the context of what's going on here. So, 2 episodes back, what happened was that this man went through, he claimed to then gone through a phone and claimed that he then seen a phone call of her speaking to a guy that she was once intimate with. But he was actually playing a buff because he was trying to see if there was more to the story, which there wasn't. But since then, all that has happened is that it seems to be a lot of insecurities has now started to appear more and more on Edward's side, which has now brought them to this situation. And when it comes to Edward and his insecurities, when it comes to laying out and delivering it, he doesn't exactly do the best job. So that's why the issue that they're having right now is a pure communication issue. A communication issue in terms of how to word certain things and how to address certain things. And that's something that I want you to remember for the foreseeable of this situation with these two. So let's get into it.
I trust you. It makes me feel like you better watch your step.
Immediately.
You are embarrassing me. You are embarrassing me. You're in a public place. You lower your voice.
I was talking about.
I didn't give you an attitude. I didn't say anything to you. You're delusional. All I said was I need a break, and I walked to the bathroom. I had every intention of coming back.
To be fair, I mean, did she give him a bit of an attitude? I mean, she did tell him, obviously, you need to calm down. But then she did stand up and, walk away to calm down. And to be honest with you, I can only respect somebody that has the ability to stand up and walk away to calm down and then come back. Because there's a lot of people that will stay there and they know their blood is boiling. They know the temperature's going places and they know they're about to flip their freaking lid. And then they'll still sit there and wait for it to actually happen. So to be fair, I do commend her for actually getting up and saying, you know what, I need to relax before I continue. So, but Edward isn't really looking to see that. He's not really looking to pay attention to that, which I think is a problem within their relationship. But let's continue.
I swear to God, Edward, like if your attitude doesn't change, I'm not speaking to you at all.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't care if you like it or not.
Oh, you don't care?
No, I did the proper thing to do. I stepped away so that I could calm myself down and come back to you and talk to you like a mature person.
This one really did show Edward's, I don't know if the right term is lack of maturity here, but let's put it this way. When somebody's trying to defuse a situation, the worst thing you can do is start to patronize them, poke the bear, or just try and make things worse. But let's continue.
Getting myself together.
Whatever you say. But okay, you know what? You're right. Whatever you say,
Don't be passive aggressive with me.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Don't be passive aggressive.
It's okay. You're right.
And this is what I mean. After that, boy, but...
You said that you want to express myself, and I express myself, and it's a problem.
I didn't know that just excusing myself from the table for 30 seconds would be so disrespectful to him. Like snapping back at him and saying like, why are we going over this again? Or like, being rude. I just said I needed a minute. I cooled back down and then I...
So here's the thing, folks, okay? Let's just keep this very, very simple. Let's not even deep dive into the ins and outs of who's right and who's wrong with these two. It's a simple situation. They both speak a whole different language. And I don't mean languages in English. No. I'm talking about how they both come... The matter of the fact is, Marissa's a woman that has been through certain experiences in her life. Edward is a person that's been through certain experiences in his life. And unfortunately for them two, their experiences just do not come together. They don't allow each other's experiences to fill in each other's imperfections. And that is the unfortunate thing that is going on here. Their communication style is so bad. Their misunderstanding is so bad. And we can sit here and say it's because Marissa's being immature or Edward is being immature. But you know what? That's not even relevant. What's relevant is that they're just never going to work because Marissa communicates in one way and he communicates another way. I mean, if I was them, but if I had to pick who is the one that's moving more mad compared to the other one, I would say it'd be Edward because, man, the way Edward be handling certain things sometimes be hella young type attitude. And I do feel like, and this is not me defending Marissa, but I do feel like because of Edward's ways, I do feel like it can make Marissa then come across immature as much as him, or we expect to be more mature because she's the older person in the relationship, right? But because of the way he behaves, it makes us believe that she's also immature. But sometimes you have to realize that when we are around certain people that behave a certain type of way, it can make us seem as if we're like that too, because we start to behave and respond based on them. And we forget how to be cool, calm, and collected, which of course is the point where somebody can become rather immature. But again, this is me not saying that Marissa is generally a mature person, because she probably isn't as mature as she thinks she is, and she probably isn't as intelligent as she thinks she is. But I feel like being with Edward has probably took whatever level of maturity or intelligence she even had, has gone from about here down to about there, because she's having to deal with somebody that has a lack of maturity and has a lack of intelligence, depending on what type of intelligence you want to talk about. The only reason I'm using the word intelligence is because Marissa has said that they both just don't connect on an intellectual level. So I'm guessing it's around different types of intelligence they have, and they don't have intelligence in the same areas where they can have intellectual conversations or dialogues or anything like that. So really and truly, they just need to understand that their relationship is never going to work. It's just that simple. I mean, listen, I'm all about compromises, but I don't see where a compromise can be made between these two. I just don't see where. Everything with these two, for me, just seems to be nothing but a downhill ride, no matter what. Even if they decide to push through and get married, they're going to divorce real soon. 1000%. And to be honest with you as well, if I'm Marissa, you got to be careful with the kind of man that you're bringing around your kids. End of the day, you don't want to bring around a man that is also a kid himself around your kids, you know, because you want to bring a man that your kids look up to, as well as their own father as well. Do you see what I'm saying? Not a man that you bring around and all of a sudden he's like your kid's play buddy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so there is that part too. Does Edward even have that balance? I don't think he does. The main thing for me, I would say, if I'm in Marissa's position, is to start to think about, is this the type of man that I want around my kids? Forget about, is this the type of man that I want in my life? Forget that. Does she see him as somebody that is the right person to have around her boys? Because remember, she's got young boys that are going to be living with her for at least the next 20 years or something like that anyway, right? It's not like she's got like teenage boys that are going to be moving out in like the next 5 years or something like that. No, she's got young kids. So it's more than ever. That's the most important thing. But give me your thoughts, folks, again. But this is not me defending Marissa in any shape or form, or even Edward in any shape or form. I just know that these two just are not a match. But the main thing that needs to be asked is this the man that should be around I should be having around me as I raise my kids? Give me your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about it. But with that being said, though, let's move on to the next one. This one right here.
I'm really glad my sister brought up the will because, I mean, I wanted to say something, but I feel like I'd already caused a lot of drama. But me, Abby, Madison have been here like the entire time, and Annabelle just arrived.
The entire time, obviously clarifying that her and her siblings have obviously always been in their father's life, clearly.
So it's kind of weird that he says that she'll get everything and not for us to worry about it.
And I do agree, that is very, very strange that Shea is saying that if anything was to happen, then Annabelle would get everything. But why?
Control his daughters. I'm very offended because I have a good life in the Philippines and I don't need Shay's money. I don't need this problem the night before of my wedding.
My biggest issue with Annabelle is that she takes everything as an attack. Everything is always an attack on her. Listen, he's got 3 daughters, okay? And all they want to know is what is going to happen with the will. I mean, listen, whether or not they're in the wrong or the right for asking that question, understand that the question isn't being asked necessarily as an attack on you. It's just that they know that their dad is getting married to somebody else, and therefore things are going to change and the will may change and whatnot. So they just want to know where they stand. Now, of course, once the father obviously tells them where they stand, but then they can react however they want to react. Now, if they react in a way that makes you feel attacked, different conversation, but this wasn't even the case. Annabelle needs to really slow down her role. It's not that deep. Calm down, okay? But listen, if I was one of his children, which I'm happy I'm not, I would 1000% be fuming if this new person is coming to his life and all of a sudden, so what are we getting? And to be fair, from as far as I've always known, a lot of the time, depending on your family dynamic, but when it comes to a will is predominantly more based on the kids inheriting than it should be about the partner inheriting. I find it really weird and strange, to be honest with you, when people have a will and they give the inheritance to their wife or husband rather than their kids. I do find that rather strange, purely because, well, the kids are going to be here for... They got more years left on the planet, basically, you see what I'm saying? Unless, of course, there is the alternative where you know your kids do not deserve it because they've never done anything that is obviously shown that they deserve it, and you feel like it is best to give that will to your partner, and then your partner can then decide what they want to do with that, because they may also then decide, you know what, everything that I've inherited from him or her, I can then now choose where I want to put it, and that could also be adding it to their will. So therefore, that will can then go to then that person ends up actually being the one that gives it to the kids instead, given that the kids have now obviously behaved. I mean, listen, there's ins and outs of how you want to look at it, but for anybody that has ever seen the TV show called Power, oh man, one of the best wills of all time I ever saw. But there's a character, a son called Tyreek. Oh God, boy, do I not like his character. Oh, he's a scumbag. If you know, you know. But you see, here's the thing, you see, the character of himself in particular, who then passed away, James St. Patrick, aka Ghost, well, this is the situation that happened. When he passed away, his will pretty much said that everything was, in a nutshell, going to go to his kids, and nothing was going to go to his wife. Nor was it really going to go to his wife's mother, neither his mother-in-law. So he said everything's going to go pretty much to my son and my daughter. But he put in a very key stipulation, which is very key, because he knew his son is somebody that doesn't behave and doesn't do and doesn't behave in a way that he should behave in. He then put in a certain stipulation. Stipulation was that he must finish university doing something for the next 4 years, and he must get an average of a 3.5 something. And then if he does it, then he inherited all the money, all the properties, all the businesses, the whole shebang. And I thought that was lovely, because it was a way to say that, well, my thing that I've done has always been for the kids, but at the same time, because the kids haven't necessarily behaved, they still got to earn it, despite the fact that I'm not here. And I loved it. Loved it. Despite the fact that the mum was moving around thinking, oh, I don't think that did for him. He didn't give me nothing. Be quiet. Be quiet. So I'm really into it. When it comes to will, I guess it's a very subjective, obviously, based on how you want to do it. But either way, though, Annabelle needs to calm down and stop behaving as if, like, it's an attack. Like, you've just walked in. The kids have always been there. Of course they're going to want to ask. Especially given the fact that Shea's always been the one that has spoiled his daughters too. And because he's always spoiled them, of course they're going to be feeling entitled, because that's how he's raised them. But nonetheless, though, let's get into the next one, folks. So this one right here.
Actor, I think Egypt, and so I want to continue that here.
And you're successful there, but also I'm aware of like how competitive it is here in the United, a million.
Mido's one of those people that you can tell him something, but if it's not what he wants to hear, he's not listening to anything you're saying, and all he's doing is actually cussing you out in the back of his head. Just look at this man's eyes. Just look at the facial expression. You know he's looking and thinking, boy, who the hell do you think you are to tell me? Shut the hell up. Do you not know who I am? I am Mido, huh? Mido, the Egyptian Hollywood star. I am the next Al Pacino. Huh? Who do you think I am? Godfather ain't got shit on me. Let's continue.
Type of shot to be actually sustainably successful at it. In terms of providing for family.
Little does he not know that Mido doesn't give a damn about providing for no family. Only thing he cares about is about your mother providing for him. He doesn't ever use... the guy doesn't even know what a wallet is anymore. Your mother is his wallet. So when it comes to providing, my friend, trust me, he doesn't give a damn.
What I want to do, what I'm like, what I love. I was very patient with his question, but I'm a person, I hate a question, by the way.
What did I tell you? I'm the Christian, the Christian, by the way. I told you, man. I told you. He's the kind of person that's just going to look at you and be like, who the hell do you think you are? Nah, listen, if I was him, I wouldn't waste time. I wouldn't even waste my time with, what's his name again? With Mido. Mido's a dead end. But to be fair though, what the son should have done was, he should have tried to find a way to spend more time to get to know Mido. Because you see, if he had that opportunity to do that, he could have been that one person that could have said to his mother, Don't you dare marry this clown. But no, you want to come in literally the day before their wedding, and now you want to quiz them about XYZ. I'm sorry, buddy, but you may be her son, but you don't have a leg to stand on because you've come in so late. So really and truly, if I was in Mido's position, I'd probably be looking and thinking, who the hell? Where you been? You be quiet. Do you not know who I am? I am the Egyptian Hollywood star. Oh man. Anyway. Let's move on to the next one, folks. You give me your thoughts. Do you think that the son coming in so late is just simply pointless at this point? So therefore him having an opinion just isn't even relevant? Or do you think that even though the son's coming very late, pretty much the day before the wedding, his opinion should still matter to his mother? Let me know your thoughts on that one. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Oh, yes. This one itself in particular. How interesting. Let's get into these two clowns.
I cannot be honest 100% with my mom about my feelings because she already went with one divorce with me, so...
Did I miss this before? I didn't even know that she was even married before Paula, to be honest with you. But that's quite interesting that Paula's already been married before. Very, very interesting information. But...
I don't want to worry her. I have doubts about the relationship, but my family is here, so I want to try to hold all in. So I'm always positive, but inside it, I'm in a complete mess.
When we are burning inside, it is important to listen to what we are burning about. You know, I think like in this life, a lot of us settle in life because of other pressures around us. But the thing that I find interesting though, Paul, is I don't really feel like she has family pressure. I think she's put pressure in her own mind that her family's going to be disappointed if she walks away from this marriage, potentially because she's already been married before and this didn't work out. I think that's now putting her in a position in mind where she's worried, super worried about being judged and being a disappointment within the family.
Having my family here witnessing all this wedding situation is a lot of pressure because it is rushing me to make a decision and I'm not sure what I want to do.
And this is the thing, you know, she's obviously unsure. And to make it worse, Thomas was literally saying the same thing to his bestie. Pretty much saying to his friend that, hey, man, I don't even know if this is even going to be worth it. I don't even know if this is actually going to go where it needs to go to. So the fact that we got two people in doubt says a lot of things. It's one thing for one person to have doubt in a relationship. But for both of you to have a doubt in your relationship, whew. What is needed more than ever is for them to come together and have a genuine, open conversation about every single thing. They have to lay everything on the table. And in that conversation where they lay everything on the table, that is when they can decide whether or not they want to proceed or not. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. Because, well, if it was going to happen, I'd imagine it had happened by now. I mean, listen, we have to wait and find out, isn't it? Obviously, right now, we know that Paul is back in Brazil, so there is that speculation that maybe these two are no longer together. Something we're obviously going to have to wait and find out. But as of right now, that conversation needs to happen sooner rather than later. Like right now, to be fair with you. Within the time when this was filmed, do you know what I mean? But this is the thing though, sometimes people, before they get married, people fear the idea of having a conversation because they feel like, oh, maybe it's too late, or maybe I've already committed, but everybody has now arrived from their set places, everybody's taking the time off of work, I don't want to put people in a position where they wasted their money, I understand that so many things happen, but this is why people are supposed to make these decisions and these conversations before they even get to the point of, will you marry me? Do you know what I mean? But then, of course, sometimes you get the question of, will you marry me? And then other problems happen within that time, which is fine. And then it's just that you now got a task to try and obviously overcome those things before you get to the point you're like, okay, now let's book a wedding venue. But of course, when it comes to these two, we do know that the whole idea of the show is 90 Day Fiance. And you know what's so crazy though? Like, I know everybody always says 90 days not a long time, it's only 3 months, and it is only 3 months. I completely agree. But why do they always act as if like the 90 days is why is it people on the show go on there and act as if 90 days is all they've had together? I mean, don't get me wrong, there are couples that we've seen before that have actually never met, like, and they meet for the first time, right? And there's couples before they've seen each other a few times, and then, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I do understand that there's a difference between being around somebody in their country and then being around that person now in your country. And also, I do understand there's a big difference that each time you come and see them, you never actually stay at the house. You rent places out. You book this place. You book that place. More of the story is when people are dating, why don't they just normalize dating properly? Like if I'm going to meet someone that's going to live in another country, every time I'm going to go and see them, okay, my whole idea is going to try and make sure that when I'm there, we are living as if we are living together. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go there and act as if I'm a visitor. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is one of the biggest issues. So more of the story is, end of the day, technically speaking, they all do have more than 90 days to actually make a decision. It's a whole calamity. It's a whole calamity. But I'll say, if anything, regarding what I'm saying, Marissa and Edward have definitely been the biggest botches in terms of the fact that the whole time she kept going to see him, they were literally living life by renting this place and that place and that place. And now they've been hit by reality more than ever. Either way, though, when it comes to Paula and Thomas, should they get married? Give me your thoughts. That's what I want to know. Yeah. With that being said, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day, folks.